Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I want to share with you my top 10 favorite nonfiction books that I have read. Okay, so in honor of Nonfiction November, I thought that it would be fun to share with you my top 10 favorite nonfiction books. These will not be in any particular order, but I thought that it would be fun to share with you some of my favorite ones that I've read. So the first one that I want to share with you is They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. This is a book that is typically shelved in either the middle grade or teen sections of your library, but it is the story of George Takei's childhood and being in an internment camp during World War II. It is a graphic novel. I don't remember if I said that or not, but it is so well done. I love the perspective of this book. I've read quite a number of graphic novels that take place during this time frame, and this is hands down my favorite one. And so, yeah, this is one that really made me think and has stuck with me for a long time. And so, for that reason, it deserved a place on this list. All right. Another middle grade book that, like I said, is typically shelved in the middle grade section of your library is Free Lunch by Rex Ogle. This is a book that chronicles Rex's childhood and him growing up in poverty and being on the free lunch program at his school and the stigma that came with that. It was very triggering for a lot of people. I think there will be a lot of triggers in this book, but it was very humbling for sure. It gave me a very different perspective on life and kids and how I view some kids in my neighborhood or in my kids' school or things like that. It was very eye-opening. I would highly suggest everybody read this as an adult, but definitely look into trigger warnings, like I said. I would be wary giving this one just to a kid because there are some kind of graphic things that happen. It is pretty short. It's a short read, but man, does it pack a punch. So this had to go on the list. Okay. Another book that I wanted to share with you is The Lazy Genius Way by Kendra Adachi. This is hands down my all-time favorite self-help book. I am not a big self-help reader. I don't really connect with a lot of self-help books, but this one spoke to me on a whole new level. Kendra Adachi's tagline is be a genius about the things that matter and lazy about the things that don't. So she really wants you to prioritize what matters in your life and find ways to be a genius about those things and let other things go. There are a lot of fantastic principles in this book that I use on a daily basis still, and I read this over a year ago. And so, yeah, I could not recommend this one highly enough. She narrates the audiobook, and so if you can get your hands on the audiobook, go for it that way. It's pretty short, it's a quick read, but it will have lasting impact on your life. So that one had to be on this list. All right. Another one that I have on this list is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This is one that I read a number of years ago, and I laughed and I cried, and it was so good. This is the book that taught me what apartheid was. Because as a child of the 90s, we did not learn about apartheid in school. And so I had no idea what it was up until I read this book, which is a travesty, but it's the truth. And so, yeah, this one just, I learned a lot, let's just say that. But at the same time, Trevor Noah brings his humor and his wit to this story. He doesn't take life too seriously, so he can laugh about things that others might not laugh about, and while also being extremely vulnerable and showing us a different side of his life. And it was so well done. Trevor was born to a black woman, but he has a white father, so he is biracial. And in South Africa during apartheid, that was illegal, and so his mother had to do a lot to protect him and to protect her and to protect his father. And it kind of talks about that a lot in the book, but then also just his life being a biracial kid in a community where that was very, very strongly frowned upon. And so, yeah, this one had to go on the list. All right. Another middle grade book on this list is All 13 by Christina Soontornbot. This is the story of the Thai boys soccer team that got stuck in a cave and the rescue of that team. This is a book that I read in a day because it was so well written. Who writes a book that is so informative that you just cannot put down? It is one of those books that's so captivating and so just like compelling that you just wanted to keep turning the pages. It was so good. There is a book, or not a book, a movie that just came out on Amazon Prime, I believe, that chronicles this, that has like Colin Farrell and I can't remember the other guy's name in it, that was also really, really good. But you got to read the book first because the book is so good. Strongly, strongly recommend. It won a Newbery honor. It's won so many awards, and for good reason. So definitely go check that one out. Okay, next on this list, I have The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This is a story of a girl who grew up in extreme poverty and then learned later, or then got herself kind of out of it later in life. She came from a home of a very abusive family and neglectful parents who really were just selfish, and it definitely gave me an appreciation for the family that I have and the way that I grew up, but also gave me compassion for people who didn't grow up the way I did, and opened my eyes to a lot of things. And so yeah, this one I really, really enjoyed and would highly recommend. But man, this cover could use some work, don't you think? All right. Let's see, what else do I have here? Another historical book that I absolutely loved is Lauren Hillenbrand's Unbroken. This is one that I gift to my kids' teachers all the time because I think that it is just so good. It's one that I recommend everybody read. This is the story of Louis Zamperini, who was a pilot, or not a pilot, but he was in the military. Was he a pilot? No, I don't remember. He was in a bomber plane during World War II that went down over the Pacific Ocean, and he survived in a raft with two other people for like 30 plus days. And then when he finally was picked up, he was picked up by the Japanese military and taken to a prisoner of war camp and was extremely maltreated there. And so it's just his story, and it is so good. It's kind of a chunky one. The audiobook, though, is narrated by Edward Herman, and let me just tell you, that was the perfect narrator for this book, because this book, I could not stop listening. I just wanted to listen to it all the time. It's phenomenal. Could not recommend it more. Go pick that one up. All right. Next, we have Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. This is one that has been pretty popular around the bookish world in the past few years. It also has a movie adaptation out for it now. But this is a book all about Brian Stevenson's work for who does he work for? Equal Justice Initiative. He founded. He is a lawyer, and he helps try to get people out of prison that are unjustly, whatever. They shouldn't be there, and they're innocent. And so, yeah, it has a lot to do with just that, as well as a specific case that he was part of a number of years ago. And this one opened my eyes to our justice system and how messed up it is and how unfair life can be. And it made me rethink some of my political views on different things. And so I would recommend it. I really, really got a lot out of this book. Okay. Next, we have The Only Plane in the Sky by Garrett M. Graff. This is one that I read last year for the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and I loved this book so much. This book is all about 9/11. It's an oral history of 9/11, and it is just one that will have you flipping the page, turning the page. It is one that I was like, I'm going to pace myself. I'm going to take it slow. No, 2 days. I was done because I couldn't stop. It talks about so much more than just the World Trade Center, though. It talks about a lot about Air Force One and what was going on with the president during the time of 9/11, and it talks about DC and the Pentagon. It talks about the plane that went down in Pennsylvania. It talks about the international community. It talks about everything surrounding 9/11, not just the World Trade Center, which I really appreciated. And I learned so much that I had no idea about in this book. It is so well done, so well put together, and I absolutely loved it. So if you're looking for a 9/11 centered book, I would recommend this one. All right. And then last but not least is probably my favorite. I know I just said I wasn't going to rate all of these, but this one is probably my all-time favorite nonfiction book, and that is Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. I read this for the first time last year, and in case you couldn't tell, I had a lot of thoughts. This book, I adored this book. It made me think. It made me view my faith differently. It made me think about my faith differently. And I'm a Christian. Most of you know that. And this just showed a whole new light on different areas of my faith and different concepts within my faith. And so I don't think that you have to be a Christian to read this. I think that this, you could not be a Christian and still get a lot out of this, because it has a lot to do with morality and just a lot of different aspects of the Christian faith. But especially if you're a Christian, if you have not read this, I would so strongly recommend it. C.S. Lewis is, a staple of the faith, I feel like. And I had never read any of his nonfiction before, and that's just a travesty. So this was my first one. It's still my only one. I need to remedy that. But yeah. So anyway, those are my top 10. I have 7 of them here. 3 of them are books that I don't own yet. But those are my top 10 nonfiction books that I have ever read. If you have read any of these, as always, I would love to hear your comments about them down below in the comment section, as well as let me know your favorite, top 3 favorite nonfiction books. I would love to know that as well. So that's going to do it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.